We're officially recording. Excellent. So here we are, our growth hacking blab, where we try to share with anybody who has a business or is in sales ways to increase their commissions dramatically or increase their sales dramatically. So today's topic is going to be about the elevator pitch and how you would put it to use in networking events to basically help any business hurry up and get going.
Absolutely. You know, I think that it's really important to be able to put your best foot forward and not talk about, look, this is a really big issue that I've seen. I've done quite a bit of networking, and Dennis, you've done 10,000 times more than I ever have, and probably ever will. But it's when people go in there and just look. I was at a networking event just recently, and I walk up. So, oh yeah, hello, how are you? Chat. What do you do? Because that's what people ask. And they just started carrying on with all of this long-winded stuff that really was just boring me to tears. And I was looking over their shoulder, looking for an escape route. I was hoping the fire alarm was going to go off. I just needed to get out of there and stop talking to this person, because I was not their target market. They didn't ask me if I was part of their target market. And essentially their product might have been great, but I couldn't wait to go. So this is something that's a real issue. I just got to get away from them.
I agree. And yeah, I've done a lot of events, and I always start with the what do you do always, personally, because I want to hear about them first, because of course, if you go out there and start blabbing all about you before they even ask, you kind of make yourself look bad and sound bad. So I love asking what do you do first, but I do get quite amazed at how often what I get back is,
we're a technology company, or what do you do is their product. What do you do? We deliver manure. Like, I actually had that as an answer, by the way. But that's not what he does. That's not what he does. People don't want manure. They want the healthy, happy plants. So he could have said, we help people grow amazing plants. Do you have a garden? Like, oh,
that's
yes,
actually really good. I like that, because I know even when I started at networking events, I started with a cheesy tagline of, we help people increase their sales within 30 days for under $30 a month. And I just found most people gave me that same blank stare back when it was my turn to talk. So instead, now I've started with, we mostly focus on helping small businesses increase their sales. And it's much softer, it's much gentler, and it opens a conversation for them to say, how do you do that? Oh, well, guess what? We have a mobile app, we have a this, we have a that. And it gets a conversation started instead of my trying to get right to the point and get them to buy something.
Absolutely. So, I think what makes a pitch work is understanding a few key areas. And this is what I like to work with myself. I've tried to define it over the years and sort of drill it down. So, and when I'm talking to business owners and teach, because obviously I work with a lot of C-level people. So that means, executives and sales managers, things like that, people at the, corporate level, they're going to go to networking events. What do you do? If you actually say things, if you actually can identify what's the one thing you do better than anyone else. So what I'd like to do for everybody today is try to see if we can maybe workshop some of this. So if you're online today, just take a moment to write down, what is the one thing you do better than anyone else? Okay, so once you've done that, you go, okay, well, in your case, you've got your mobile app. So what's the one thing, Dennis, that you do better than anyone else?
Simple. We connect the business card scanning directly to the email follow-up and perpetual follow-up, all in one action.
Cool, man. So this is the stuff we need to understand. I don't know. Is my video glitching there? Okay. This is the things we need to understand, and then we need to develop the pitch. This isn't the steps of the pitch. This is the things we need to put together, sort of the components, and then go, this is how we do it. So what's your big claim? So people also need to have a big claim, something that if you've got 20, 30 seconds to talk to somebody, you walk away. Imagine somebody tapping that person you just spoke to on the shoulder and said, what was that guy about? They're not going to go, well, they deliver manure, or they do, because that's the one thing they're going to remember, because that's pretty memorable. But what you actually want to do is make a big claim that they're going to actually remember. Okay, that's important. So, we do this and it's the result. We don't have software, we don't do things, but we help businesses improve by 30% in a shorter time. Oh, really? And that creates a conversation. All right. So, understand what your competitive advantage is. What do you do better than anybody else? So what's the one thing you want people to remember? Sorry?
What's your competitive advantage? Tell us your claim and competitive advantage, just so people can get another viewpoint of how that might fit together.
Okay, so if somebody says, what do you do in a networking environment? I say, look, I help businesses close 30 to 50% more sales in a shorter amount of time.
Perfect.
And they go, oh, how? Great. Well, and then I've got a conversation running. So if somebody taps that person up, what does that guy do over there? Oh, he helps people close more business, 30 to 40% in shorter amounts of time. Got it.
Simple.
So it's really clear. It's succinct. You're in it's called an elevator pitch, because you've got 20 seconds to make some sort of impact. You've got to get you've got to get that hook in. And how do you do that? You've got to actually make a big claim. And of course, as the conversation expands, you can say things, look, if I can only do half of what I claim I can do, is that still of interest to you? There's going to go, well, he said he can double my sales, but even 50%, geez, 20%, far out, 15% would be pretty good.
Yeah, I'd be good with 5. Most small business owners seem to think that it's very hard to increase sales, but it's not so much that it's hard to increase sales. It's that they just don't implement some of the strategies that they need to be implementing. They don't control their data. They don't have their elevator pitch so that when they meet someone's instantly interested in what they have to say, or knows a friend who may be. So, yeah, no, I agree. You make the big claim, and then no matter how small they make it in their mind, they're still going to think that sounds pretty cool.
Exactly. And of course, also you need to understand who you actually want to sell to. Who's your market here? If you're selling corporate level solutions for change management, it's not the sales guy that's going to do that. You're going to have a different conversation with him, and you're going to have a different conversation with the lawyer. And so what that means is you need to actually develop a couple of different pitches depending on who you're talking to. If you talk to the HR guy versus the sales manager, they've got different goals.
Well, so I think you have to go one step further in that you have to be careful that you're talking to a prospect. I think that what I see happen at networking events all the time is the very first thing that happened is someone comes up to me and goes, oh, yeah, I have a Salesforce.com implementation with, 1,400 sales reps on it. So what do you do? And it's like, you know what? I water ski once every 12 years because this is not my customer. So my goal at that point is to say something really polite and get the heck away from him and get onto someone who might become my customer. Or maybe I'll dig for referrals. But I think that's another big thing to touch on is you can have the best elevator pitch in the world. If you say, the best elevator pitch on how to make a chocolate cake to someone who has no chocolate, man, you're just not going to get anywhere anyway. So I think you also have to be careful who the heck you talk to at these events or when you're using your elevator pitch.
So don't be impolite. That's obvious. But, you certainly want to make sure that you're giving yourself the opportunity to make a sale. Understand why you're at that place. Look, yes, it's important to over time develop relationships, but nobody's going to want to develop a relationship with you if you're not interesting and of value to them in some way. If there's a bunch of lawyers and accountants that go to these various events, and I've got to figure out, I either go, hey, do I want to do business with them? And often I'll actually find ways to do that where I can partner with them because they might not necessarily be the sale, but they might be the conduit to the sale. So you don't burn anybody. You don't go, get away from me.
No, of course.
But in a loving and caring manner, you might say, well, you might want to actually develop that relationship, have that polite conversation, or maybe tell them, look, actually, how can I help you? And help them a little bit. And then maybe even ask, who I've actually done this in a network environment. Of the customers that you have, are any of them struggling to converting sales?
Yeah, I think going for the referral approach is always better than doing absolutely nothing. But I know I sort of learned to really, really sift and sort. I mean, if it's just not my target at all, I'm very polite. I maybe sort of suggest, well, here's what I do. I don't think it's really a good fit. I'd love to chat with you more. But now that I know what you do, hey, if I come across anyone in my networking that needs that kind of thing, I'd be more than happy to make the connection. And then I like to politely exit, because I think if I could go to a networking event and in an hour and a half, get myself 5 or 10 people that actually have the potential of being interested in what I do, it's a lot smarter than having a nice, cozy conversation, creating a future relationship that may never turn into anything other than a beer drinking buddy. So I know myself, I'm quite selective when I go to networking events, because it's easy to get sucked into a comfortable conversation. And next thing you know it, the event's over and you had fun, but you don't have a single contact.
That's right. And what I've also seen is you actually get stuck talking, not stuck, but you do talk to somebody who you think might be a contact, and they're not seeing it that way. So be really clear about what you, and I've done it myself, and probably the audience here as well, is you just need to be able to go out there and have those conversations and then follow them up. And that's where, what you do is super important. Dennis. So, one of the things in regards.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Now, one of the things in regards to networking is that what I've found is if you go to one networking event, that's a multiplier of one, which is really none. But if you go to 2 or 3 or 5, and you actually telling me a story about that a little while ago. Do you want to just sort of expand on the amount of effort you went to move Small Business Dream from?
It was quite amazing. I mean, I hadn't sort of done business networking. I've been in the multi-level marketing industry for quite some time and had a lot of good success there. And then I'm transitioning everything to the Small Business Dream marketplace and working more with small businesses in the traditional sense versus small businesses in the multi-level marketing sense. So I went out there and I got myself some bunker rings, these little things that go on the back of your phone. And I used them as a giveaway to anyone who did a free trial at a networking event. Yeah, exactly. So I'd go and I'd have a chat and I'd say, oh, I got this cool thing. And if you want to try a free trial, it's early days. There's going to be bugs and problems all over the place, but I'll give you a little present if you do. And I stuck to my guns. If, I'll download it later. I said, great. As soon as you have, come see me. I'll give you a bunker ring. I'm not in the habit of giving away $2 bills or $2 coins, depending where you live. So I did that to create some engagement. And it was really weird. The other thing I did, which I believe really strongly in now, if you want to go crazy at networking events and never get anywhere, go to one a week or go to one a month. Man, I'll tell you, when I started going to 2 or 3 a week, first of all, I got known as the bunker ring guy. And I would have to work the room very intensely, person to person, working it, getting my story out. And I wasn't really that good at the story in the beginning. I thought I had it all worked out, but it wasn't really resonating. And eventually I got the right story down. So by going to many events a week, I really honed the pitch, so to speak, very, very quickly, looking into people's eyes. So next thing you know, I've transitioned about 2 weeks later to being the guy that has that software that can help your business increase sales. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool, because that's a lot better than having to give away $2 bills. And the other thing I had noticed is I didn't work the room so hard. The room started to work me. People would bring people over to me saying, you got to meet this guy. He's got this cool thing, and he might give you one of these. And he pointed the bunker ring. And then what happened was even weirder. All of a sudden, because I had done a whole bunch of free trials and I was giving away some consulting to help people, get into the process easier and, quite frankly, selfishly learn where the glitches in our software were or what was hard to understand and just try to hyperdrive the process. Next thing you know it, people are coming over and says, this is Dennis Wilson. He's one of the premier business consultants for small business in Vancouver. And I'm like, I've never said that ever about myself. And next thing you know, I am. And I'll tell you, I hit 3 or 4 events a week for 6 weeks. And it only took 6 weeks to go from unknown to apparently the premier business consultant in Vancouver for small businesses and provider of cool bunker rings and software that can increase sales of your business.
Yep.
So number one key, hit it hard, hit it fast. Because what happened is the first time, they don't trust you.
No.
The second time, they sort of know you. Maybe they have a bit of trust. The third time, they're legitimately curious about what you're doing. And the fourth time I found is when they engage. Get to the fourth time as fast as possible. Going to multiple events means you're hitting the same people over and over and over, and away you go. So that's what I did, and it was just like magic.
Well, in particular networking events, I found a way to expedite that process, and you did it yourself, is actually do free talks. So I did a free talk at a networking thing, and it immediately resulted in some contacts and work. And I've picked up a couple of clients who have paid for the cost of going to all of the networking events that I've ever been to many times over. So I've got that work, and it's just not necessarily because I'm it's a necessarily a unique product. Sales training, sales education, things like that is it's been around for a while, but it may being there and actually having the capacity to go, I do this and I can help you do that. They go, okay, I get it. And then I get up on stage and talk about it. And straight away, people put you in a position of trust.
I totally agree. We've done a couple of talks on growth hacking your sales while saving time, and the engagement rate after a presentation that you do in front of even 50 people. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like rabid fans coming to try to talk to you after, and everyone wants to get the thing downloaded to get the free offers you had, and and we've always stuck with the format of sort of doing the hour-long talk, of which 50 minutes is generating nothing but value not tied to your product. And then the last 10 minutes is where you sort of, you say what you do and who you are and what you have. And ours is quite self-serving, but incredibly educational. So if they left at 50 minutes, they would have walked away with things to put hardline into their business and make money with, whether they bought our tool or not. But if you wait the last 10 minutes, you see how all that cool stuff I just taught you to do can happen all within one single little application. So yeah, talking, getting yourself out in front of people. I mean, you got to suck it up and get past that fear. I was lucky. I wasn't afraid. I'd already talked in front of large groups, so I wasn't afraid of that. But yeah, if you're afraid of it, man, go do it 5 times. You won't be afraid of it anymore. And what an impact on your business. Pick something that you're good at and go talk about it, and others will come. Meetups.com is probably the coolest way to get the word out and actually have a few people you don't know show up to listen to whatever you said you were going to speak about.
Yeah, very cool. And you get more opportunity, So I did that one talk, and I've done that one in particular talk, and that has immediately generated a client. And I now have the ability, or now have the opportunity next week to do a 2 1.5 hour sessions on pitching with Griffith University and the Combined Chamber of Commerce. So it's these sort of opportunities. So once you're out there, you plant your flag somewhere. This is what I do. I can double your sales and shorten your sales cycle. Oh, okay. Well, how do you do that? Well, that's a long conversation, but this is what I do. On a day-to-day basis, I help businesses double their sales and shorten their sales cycle. If I can only do half of what I say I can do, are you the right person to talk to? That might be a little strong. You might want to say, if and I'm getting a bit excited here, but if I can only do half of what I say I can do, would that be of interest to your company? Yes, it would. Other than yourself, is there anybody else involved in decisions to help your business actually make more sales and more money? Yes, there is. Who's that? Oh, my VP of sales, Fred Nurk. Okay, cool. Well, should I grab your card and we have a catch-up conversation? Because you know what? If you bring in somebody that can go ahead and make you twice as many sales, or friggin' hell, like 10% more sales, are you going to be a champion? Yeah, great. That's right. Well, let's have a talk to Fred Nurk.
I love it.
That sounds like, I can't do that because I'm in the hairdressing business. Not that I know much about hairdressing these days, but I like yours. I like that. But you've got some style. I got nothing. So what we can do is we can work on pitches now, if you like, Dennis. I mean, I don't know because this is where the rubber hits the road. Because I want people to understand that your pitch is not your sales pitch. Your networking pitch is not your sales pitch. Your pitch is about your result, not your friggin' product. Okay? What do? Sell real estate.
Yeah.
Cool. I've got a website that does that pretty good, and just go away. Leave me alone.
So why don't we just sort of brainstorm on a couple that people think, or let's try to create even more value by picking an industry that most people wouldn't really think to get out to networking events to try to grow. Let's say restaurant. I'm a restaurant owner. I'm the owner of a restaurant that's sort of not quite a super high end, but sort of a nice casual dining, nice restaurant, and I've decided to try to drum up more business by going to networking events. What should my pitch be?
Well, so you got to know what's the one thing you want people to remember, and what's your big claim. So maybe if you're running a pizza restaurant or a pasta restaurant, people love to get that sort of that home, that mama feel. If it's a pizza and pasta restaurant, maybe it's that sort of old world thing. We create amazing experiences, and we deliver love with our food at our restaurant.
There we go.
Oh, I want an amazing experience, and I want to love the food, and I have a restaurant.
Yeah, so make it bigger than the restaurant itself.
It gives a shit. I don't care about the restaurant.
Yeah.
But, we create amazing experiences. Or, so what do? We have the best pie.
Yeah, pick it, yeah.
In the world.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very Australian thing.
Freaking mind when you taste this pie. People have literally been taken to the psych ward because they've had my pie.
Yeah.
That's how amazing it is.
And I think that's actually extremely good advice, is pick one thing to focus on and make it about that. A company here in Vancouver started a restaurant in a place that was too big, should have failed. Everyone said it would fail. And their claim to fame was, they collected email addresses and used a system like Small Business Dream. But more importantly, they had $9.99 pitchers of beer all day Monday. And that's what they became famous for until they got done under service laws. Yeah, exactly. And they ended up getting done for being serving alcohol under minimum required pricing or something, because the province of British Columbia is so tight about such things. So now they're still known for cheap beer, but they're legally compliant at $12.99 a pitcher on Mondays.
Right.
But again, they didn't talk about their Korean barbecue or the quality of their meat or whatever. They didn't get known for that. They're okay on quality. They're okay on a lot of things. They're not outstanding anywhere, but they absolutely took over Vancouver from their $9.99 pitchers of beer on Monday nights.
There you go. What do you guys do? We sell pitchers of beer for $9.99 at our restaurant.
On Monday nights.
On Monday nights, yeah.
And then once you got them there, now you get them into your database. Now you can remarket to them. So I love that idea. We have the best pie in the world. You know what? You make me want to go to your restaurant already, because I'm not even a super pie fan, but as soon as you told me you have one of the best pies, I become very curious about what might the best pie in the world actually taste like. I think I want to try it. So I love that idea. I think that's a brilliant concept for a restaurant. Okay, so let's go do something different. Let's say flower shop. I'm a flower shop. What should I say at a networking event?
So we flower shop. So what are flowers? What are the results the flowers get? Because it's not about the flowers, the result. We make memories. We help people build strong relationships. We do. We will bring you and your partner closer together.
We're guaranteed to get a bad guy out of the doghouse.
That's it. Doghouse exfil. So that's the thing. It's the result. It's not the flower. We got pretty flowers. Yeah, sure. Everybody's got freaking pretty flowers. Right. Nobody's interested in that. But you know what? We make sure, we guarantee that you'll never miss an anniversary, a birthday, or a special event.
There you go.
How do you do that? Well, I've actually got Small Business Dream, and that's all the information's in there. And it's the result.
Yeah.
You will never miss this. What do you do? How do you do that? Well, we have we've combined the charm and beauty and really the gut level reaction that people have about flowers, and we've taken that and we've combined it with high tech like Uber. So we're like the Uber of flower delivery.
There you go. Yeah, I like it.
So actually, that's a really good idea.
You have a florist client. You better get that to them.
No, look, but moving people to see those ideas in old businesses is a challenge, and this is why the taxi industry has been crushed. That's why the hotel industry is crying. That's why, because they're being moved over because they've gone, we've always done it this way. Guess what? Airbnb, Uber, these sort of businesses are actually moving in and providing the customer with what they actually want. People don't want to call a cab, they want to get home.
And it's really funny. I remember when I was about, I guess, 17, I worked in a coffee shop, which at the age of 17 was actually a place where you sold raw beans and ground them up for the customer, but also sold by the cup coffee. And I can remember those people said that this Starbucks thing was never going to work. I mean, they were so sure about it. It was never going to work. The coffee was burnt. They don't sell enough beans in their stores. They don't have enough variety. They don't sell flavored coffee like hazelnut and Irish cream. There is no way this Starbucks concept's ever going to work. I was just in that mall after 20 years, and guess who's in the location that coffee shop used to be in? Starbucks.
Let me guess. Yeah.
Because it turns out everyone didn't like the typical North American diner style drip coffee slop that had no taste and been sitting on a burner for an hour and a half getting thicker and thicker, right? We don't have like Australia where it's all, mostly an espresso based coffee. We're very much filter drip over here. And, even at I always get a kick out of it when I'm in Australia. I go to Starbucks and they always have to brew a whole new filter drip just for me. And that's fine by me, because otherwise I know I'd be drinking one that someone left for 3 hours. Even the rules said, it's got to go after 20 minutes. But yeah, it's another example where they didn't pay attention. And they said it's ridiculous that they have so much space for people to sit down and drink their coffee in the restaurant. That's where you should have, that's wasting square foot. And they went on and on and on about all the reasons Starbucks was going to fail. And in the end, the only thing they didn't figure out is Starbucks was going to charge 3 times the price they did for everything so they could afford that square footage to be used to make people comfortable to have maybe even 1.5 or 2 coffees.
And the thing is, with Starbucks, the first 2 times I went there, because I'm a bit of a coffee snob, but the first 2 times I went there, I was in England and I needed to have a meeting place. And the girl said, oh, let's go to Starbucks. They have comfy couches and free Wi-Fi. Let's go do that. I'm like, you know what? Comfy couches and free Wi-Fi, I'll go there. And then I had a coffee, and it was all right. But I was there for the meeting. I was there and you know what? You pick that Starbucks up, I've been to one in Wall Street. I've been to one in Service Paradise. And, you walk in and you go, you know what? I know what I'm going to get now.
That's right. Yeah, there's no real questions.
But what are they selling? Are they selling coffee? Are they selling an experience? Are they selling
an experience?
Are they pitching their product, or are they pitching their result?
There's no question they're selling an experience of come in and relax and take it easy. You got your Wi-Fi, you got your mobile phone, and they do not ever bother you. In fact, Mr. Wake Up Better on the line today, almost his entire business is run from the local Starbucks. He can be there 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day, and they never kick him out.
Nope.
So
buying a cup every now and then.
And that's A-okay by Starbucks, because Starbucks would rather have that seat full than empty, because it makes it look like there's more people interested in their product. So it's almost like the old nightclub scam, right? Keep the lineup outside even if there's 3 people inside, because then everyone else will line up and eventually you'll have a full club.
Absolutely. I've done networking events and also trade shows. And what I noticed is more people stopped to look at my stand at the trade show when there was people in the stand.
Yeah.
So I would get them to
line up.
I would literally call people over and just talk about the color of the wall, like anything.
That's right.
Like, can I just get your opinion over here in my stand? Look, do you think that's where I should have the TV? Because I got my other sales guys circling here. Well, I'm having a chat with this random person. I know. I mean, if it was just me, I wouldn't do that. But I've called somebody in, pointing at things. So there's movement, pointing at things. So I'm in the camera. And then other people would be walking by and go, oh, what's going on in there? They would stop, and the salesperson would come up with their opening line. Have you found what you're looking for today, or are you still looking?
Yeah.
Or whatever the opening line is. There's lots of options here today. Have you found what you're looking for?
I like it.
No. Or maybe this is for you. What in particular are you looking for? So it just creates a conversation. So what happens is then also, rather than this, I know this is getting away from networking, but a lot of the time a salesperson stands here, a prospect stands here, and they talk to each other. What I found always really good in a networking event and also in a trade show is to try to get on their side and look at something else. And so you can both be on. So you can be on the guy's side or the girl's side. Oh, and stand next to the guy. If there's a couple, a guy and a girl, stand next to the guy because he might be thinking you're going to go and swoop on his girl.
Exactly right.
That's because he's now thinking, oh, get away.
Yep.
Not thinking about what you're talking about.
That's right. His brain's already cross-circuited, so you're not going to get anywhere. Well, I found, now that we're talking a little bit about trade shows, I'll tell you 2 tips that I've learned that I thought were brilliant. And the first one was, a buddy of mine told me, he says, you're doing a trade show. He says, don't forget the air above your booth is free.
Yep.
And he talked about a company that he saw had this great big, huge retractable tent pole thing so they could hang their logo from this tent pole thing that was like 30 feet in the air, so that for all the way around, people thought they were some kind of super important corporate sponsor, thinking it was hung from the ceiling like a Microsoft deal. So I thought that was really neat. So the first trade show I did with Small Business Dream, this banner behind me, I actually I shoved it up on top of the table. So now that great big SD logo was pointed right at the entranceway. And then we took another one because the booth was smaller than advertised, and we stuck it behind our booth, pointing at the aisleway of the other guy's booth. And that was fantastic. And then the other tip I heard just the other day was a guy went and got 10 life-size cutouts of himself holding his book because he was there to promote a book. And he ran around and he just started putting these up everywhere. He says, and then he went beside one and he actually put it on one side of the washroom. And then he actually made people line up in front of the washroom. So he put it in such a strategic location that people had to line up and block the washrooms. So all of a sudden, everyone coming, trying to get through the line. Well, what's this all about? Oh, it's a book signing. Holy crap, this guy must be famous. Look at the lineup. And they join the lineup and join the lineup and join the lineup. And then every time the security guard complained about the cutouts, he'd say, no, I'm like an author. I'm here doing a session. So, I mean, of course I'm allowed to do that. And he would just use, good old neuro-linguistic programming to convince the guy that he was allowed to do that. He says, and then by the time he figured out I wasn't allowed to do it, I'd already got the exposure I needed. And I thought, man, is that ever great? So yeah, definitely block an aisle or something important with your life-size cutout and offer a free gift to create a lineup, and you can be the star of any show.
That's very cool. Very cool. Hey, look, I'm just I've done 2 of these blabs, so of course I'm an expert. Should we actually go ahead and have a look and see if anybody wants to actually jump in and give us their pitch?
We sure could. Yeah, anybody on the line. I don't know that we have a lot of people that are live. We had a lot of lurkers that aren't logged in, so they don't have the option. But if anyone wants to jump in and suggest to us what their pitch would be for their business, or get a little bit of help from us on what your pitch could be for your business, let us know, and we'd be happy to jump you on if you have a headset, or type it in the column, and we'd be more than happy to take some live ideas and help in real time if there's anybody.
While people are doing that, and what we have to remember is your pitch is not necessarily a conversation. It's actually the way you're going to be remembered. It's what do you do? Boom. What I've seen is a lot of times people go, oh, well, so tell me about, what you, if somebody says, oh, what do you do? And then they try to flick it back and say, oh, tell me about your CRM situation. Well, I don't want to do that because I got things to do. I don't want to do that. But if you go, hey, we help people increase their buy-in rate, or we help people do this, you go, oh, how? You want the person to go, how? Yeah. Then you can talk a little bit more. Then you got permission. Until then, you're an annoyance because you know what? People aren't there to help you. They're there to help themselves. If you decide to help other people, that's your choice.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I always use I don't ask for permission to give consulting. I literally, as soon as I pick up on anything that they're doing with their business, I'll just offer a suggestion. So it's belligerent and it's a bully, but somehow I get to pull that off because I'm giving good value. So next thing you know, they're like, wow, I never thought of doing that. That's a great idea. And I don't make sure that every tip is related to Small Business Dream. If I know something that might help their business and it has nothing to do with Small Business Dream, I'm more than happy to just drop it on them. Or the other thing I've found is when you do work the room enough and you're going to three or four a week and you're getting to know the players that are out on the networking circuit, when you go and connect to people, Okay, we got Fred, the lawyer who specializes in trademark, and we got Johnny, the business plan writer, just talking about his new customer that probably needs a trademark lawyer. And Johnny, you got to meet Fred, and Fred, you got to meet Johnny, and you put those two together, and now those guys will bring you people for the rest of their lives.
It
so
raises your
connecting two people.
Yeah. Raises your profile because you're seen as knowing other people. Like if I can say, oh, look, you should go and talk to this guy, it just allows that person to go, oh, well, there's somebody I didn't know and something I didn't know. So this person has created a level of trust.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's absolutely magic when you do that, especially if they end up having business together. Then it seems to even explode even more because now your value goes up. Not only did you make an introduction, but it's one that worked out. So be careful that you're not just introducing two people you don't know that well because it can backfire as well. But yeah, I just found as you introduce a few people, and then both of them tend to end up asking you more about what you do. So it's really quite a magic strategy as far as how to kill it in a networking environment. The last thing that I find very, very frustrating after going to so many networking events is how pathetic the follow-up is. And I think if you're going to go to a networking event and you're not going to have good follow-up, don't go to the event. You're going to damage yourself.
It's non-existent in 90% of the cases.
Yeah, 90 or more. And the funny part is it's real estate agents and financial planners and people who you first need to trust before you even use them that seem to be the worst at follow-up. So for me, I mean, when I go to a networking event, obviously I use our app. So at least I get that initial, hey, nice meeting at the event today. And at least I've said something. And it amazes me how few people respond to my email where I was following up with them. But it amazes me even more how nobody follows up. You say 90% don't follow up. I say it's as high as 99%. It's absolutely shocking how few people follow up. And I'm even talking about people that I've said, I'm specifically interested in what you're doing, right? One guy comes to mind as an immigration consultant. I've married a Japanese wife and we got to get her immigrated. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? In a couple of months, I'm going to be ready and I'm going to need some help with that. And if I can pay someone to do it instead of me doing it, I'm all for it. He never followed up. 4 weeks later, I see him at another event and he's like, yeah, well, and in four weeks later, I see him at another event and he's coming at me like, okay, so are you ready now? And I'm like, whoa, you had your chance. I won't be using you even when I'm ready because you didn't have the courtesy to even follow up. I mean, if someone says to me, oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, and I'm kind of worried about this, if I find an article or anything about what I heard them say they're worried, I make sure to send it to them or do something. And now all of a sudden they're more engaged with me. And it's not always about my business, but I'm amazed that even when I say I'm interested in buying from you, people don't follow up.
No, I mean, I've never received an email from any of the lawyers or accountants or financial planners that any of these meetings. I know I've given them my card. I've got theirs. I've emailed them, say, hey, nice to meet you. You know, where's your particular expertise? Asked a question. I always I try to always end an email with a question to create a conversation rather than a statement. And you know, they might give you the 1 or 2 word answer if they answer at all.
If they answer at all, yeah.
And then chirping crickets, nothing.
Yeah, so I wonder, I mean, I guess I sort of get it. If you're at a networking event that is mostly about a particular topic or it's an awards ceremony for something, then you can expect that most of the people aren't there to network. So then that sort of makes sense. But when you're at an actual networking event that is a business networking event and published that way, my God, you got to follow up. And don't just email. Don't just do what's easy. It's amazing. You don't have to get a hold of them. Phone them and leave a message. And that'll again, it just increases your value so much. I guess it's easy to say. What you need to do is what everybody else isn't doing.
Yeah.
And then you stand out and it's not that hard.
Yeah, that's right. If everybody's talking about their products, you're going to talk about your results. You know, because everybody does talk about their products. What do you do? Oh, I do this. No. So that's my little bit on pitching. And I've just got some comments here. Yeah, you absolutely have to pitch the right people. But in having your pitch the right way, having an understanding that you know that there's going to be 3 or 4 different types of people that you could appeal to, have 3 or 4 different types of pitches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if I was talking to a HR person, I will make sure that you are. So what do we do if I know they're a HR person and they're engaged in hiring salespeople? I make sure that you hire superstar salespeople so you look amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, how great! Now I can talk to you about it. So if I'm going to talking to a business guy, you know, we will increase the company's bottom line by 30 to 40% in the next quarter.
Yep.
How? Oh, now there's a conversation. So do know who your target markets are, and in every business there's 2 or 3 different segments, and develop a pitch on each one of those.
Yeah, and I've done the same with.
Go ahead.
I've done the same with Small Business Dream. If I know I'm talking to a restaurant owner, it becomes, hey, you know what? We help people increase their sales with a small restaurant by having them never have an empty table. You know? So, and it's about finding the things that's their lingo, not yours, I've also found. By telling a restaurant he's never going to have an empty table, you don't have to tell him he's going to make more profit. He knows. Right. So, yeah, I tend to tailor my pitch based upon who I'm talking to. And I also have a problem within my business because it's not just about tailoring it to a restaurant versus a life insurance salesman or whatever. I also have the problem that some people are potential resellers. So your consultants and your marketers and all that are potential resellers. And the way I approach them totally changes because when I get onto them, I don't really want to confuse them with the details of my product. I want to talk more about the opportunity of helping them solve more of their clients' problems and look like a superstar. So yeah, you're right. You got to tailor it to a couple of different ways so that you can be the most effective when you're out there. And again, repetition of a ton of events, that's how it works because that's how I learned all my different pitches was by talking not to one of each of them a month, but I talked to 10 restaurants a week for 6 weeks. I talked to 10 life insurance reps, 10 real estate agents, 10, gym membership salespeople. Intensity will get you there faster.
Understand their pain and provide a solution is much better than trying to pitch your products, isn't it?
Yep. So Dario's asking us to give some sales tips. Dario, what industry are you in? And we'd be happy to try. Okay, while we're waiting for Dario to answer, we can carry on.
Okay, so in relation to sales tips, so sales is such a huge area. So Dario, if you've just joined, so far we've talked about getting your pitch right, and in particular in networking events, we've talked about following up in networking events. But in regards to doing a pitch, understand what's the one thing you want people to remember. What's the one thing you're in an elevator? What's the one thing that you do better than anyone? So Dario's in the tech industry. What's the one thing? Because people, you know what, seriously, I've been in tech for a long time. Dennis has. It is now so commoditized. Nobody wants to hear about tech. Seriously, if you mention tech at all in any sales conversation, you are going to lose because it's not interesting anymore. 15 years ago, I spent, I don't know, I'm going to say probably $100,000 on service for my office. I made sure there was a glass door on the thing so I could walk people past and go, look at my cool service. Now, it's sort of a bit sad that you've got service because all that crap should be in the cloud. And really, it's industries what should I use instead? Okay, Microsoft are now employing a friend of mine to do talks with their salespeople and saying, tech is commoditized. Every time the tech guy walks in the door, it's the CEO goes, oh, there's another $100,000. So what you need to do is have business conversations. This is what this sort of, what is the result of your tech? So Dennis has a CRM, but he doesn't talk about the CRM. He talks about making sure you can increase your sales through better follow-up. All of that stuff sits in behind it. So let's pick an industry like.
Let's just ask Dario. Dario, what do you sell? Do you sell a particular software package, or what do you sell? And maybe we can help you come up with something that would be cool. Or what does the thing you sell do better than anybody else who sells similar things?
Yeah, that's it. So CRMs, okay,
awesome.
So we know that because Dennis is an expert in that. So Dennis, are you selling a CRM?
No, we call it a mini CRM. We call it a growth hacking tool. We stay away from CRM. And I learned this in Japan, right? I was in Japan at a networking event that had 160 people, and I was talking to people, and I was using the CRM word because I didn't really have better Japanese words to use. And every time I said CRM, they'd be like, "Oh, so we're probably not ready for that because CRM's a $10,000 or $20,000 investment." And I'm like, no, we're a mini CRM. Oh, what does that mean? So I found this cool little word for mini CRM. To me, if you're not an Infusionsoft or a Salesforce or bigger, you're a mini CRM, which will actually take a lot of stress out of the people. So by being a mini CRM, you don't have to sell the adoption of the CRM as much because you're not in the big world. Lynch Insights, when you're selling the adoption of CRM, that's a great space to be in, by the way. There's a couple of guys up here in Vancouver that are just killing it in the adoption of CRM because it's so expensive. So yeah, their average deal's $80,000 just to do the implementation of Salesforce or Infusionsoft. So that's different than what Small Business Dream does, but absolutely they don't go out and sell the CRM. They go out and sell all the cool stuff it's going to do and the return on investment.
That's right. So it's about your results. So think about, what do you do better than anyone else? What's the one thing you want people to remember? What's your big claim? What's your competitive advantage? And that's what you need to understand. People don't want a CRM. They want to have their clients' contacts at their fingertips. But do they really even want that? What do they really want? They want more sales. They want to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. They want to find every opportunity to make a sale and to take an opportunity to a client. And
Dario, so, you're correct on
shortening the sales cycle. What is the value of the CRM? I've run Zoho, Infusion. I currently run Infusionsoft, Salesforce, Zoho, and because I've got a few different businesses and clients I work with, and of course Small Business Dream. So, and all of them do different things.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that your product does better than anyone else, and how does that relate to a business problem?
Yeah.
That's the thing you need to understand. So CRMs, the big deals will come out of you joining the dots. The company's got goals. They know where they are. They don't have the direct roadmap to get there. That's what you do.
Yep. You sell that. And yes, Dario, mini CRM would limit your growth if you're not a mini CRM. But our particular claim to fame is that we're the CRM or the sales tool that salespeople and small business owners love to use. And when you outgrow us, we will integrate it to your Infusionsoft or your Salesforce type products. So for us, it works. But if you're actually selling an Infusionsoft or bigger, it definitely wouldn't make any sense to brand yourself a mini CRM. You'd want to go down what Matthew's saying, which is absolutely showing them more the result of what it's going to do for them. Find their pain problem, show how it's going to work for them to do it. So
just in relation to that, and I'm sure you've probably done your research in that space. And if you say per person, if you're trying to uncover pain points, and this is sales terms for, what the other person's needs, and they're like, oh, well, not really. We've found in the past that these three key areas are the ones that impede people from actually making more sales and more money in the business. And they might be systems, people, and process, or systems, people, and culture. Which one do you think would be the biggest lever in your business? Have a question that will actually give you the ability to have an answer that is your sale. Like, obviously, if somebody goes, oh, I've got a culture issue, maybe a CRM is not the right answer, not the right thing to provide. But certainly, well, why? And then that's interesting you should say that. Why do you say that? Oh, because of this. And keep digging and see if you can find a way. Well, the culture sucks because it's too damn hard to find the contact details of somebody, or it's too damn hard to make a sale, and we're not making enough sales. Why is that? Because of this. So it's actually the idea is to ask. I subscribe to the theory of the iceberg theory of questioning. Okay, so the answer you get at the beginning is the okay to be seen by everybody. The second one is sort of waterline. Some people are going to see it if they look, but if you actually ask another question, go a bit deeper, you're going to find the real pain. What is it? You must have a good reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? Or, and how does that impact your bottom line? Because business owners don't want CRMs or server racks or anything like that. All they want to do is go from where they are to where they want to be.
That's absolutely it. I mean, it's fantastic. I think I know Lynch Insights was saying that in big world, they're spending millions of dollars just for licenses. And that's true. But to me, the whole reason we did Small Business Dream the way we did it was we didn't want to compete in that space, because that space is exactly the answer you get. That space is what has screwed up the small business owner's mind, because he's been approached by those people saying, oh, the license is only $1,500 a year per seat. But, you're going to have to go through this $80,000 customization process. It's like, wait a second, I'm paying you $1,500 a month for something that doesn't work until I customize it? What the heck is that? Yeah. So we find that our biggest problem selling is getting over the hump of the fact that they've already been pitched on really expensive things that are overkill and ridiculous for them, that no one ever said, look, collect your data with a fishbowl draw, put that data into a system and do an email blast once a week about a new menu item or a 2-for-1 appetizer on your slow days and watch your sales increase 30% in a week. Nobody's pitched them that way on a CRM, something that's immediately tangible, and then give them a free trial so that they can actually experience and make money on it before they have to pay for it, and away you go. But I got to convince them, I'm not joking, it's only $30 a month.
Yeah. Look, I've sat in my own boardroom and had people come in from Oracle and Salesforce and Siebel databases and Siebel. And all of these guys are telling me about their products. Oh, we can link on various things. I've actually forgotten 99% of the conversation, the jargon, because it actually hurt. But essentially, I just said, look, guys, all I want to do is have my salespeople do this and get this report. And they kept prattling on. I said, no. I actually had them in my office, so I was the one asking for help. I said, no, I don't care about all that sort of stuff. I want to start here, see this, do that. And because I'm in sales, because I was running the business at the time, I knew what I wanted to do. So business owners know what they want. You just need to be able to describe the problem. As a salesperson, your job is to describe the problem better than they can.
That's right.
And ask them a better question. And that's it. I know we've sort of gone away from pitching here because you've moved into a place that both Dennis and I love, which is sales and general sales advice. and certainly we've both, Dennis currently runs some reasonably large businesses in the tech space. So this is something that, and I had smaller business, nothing like Dennis's in the past. This is something that we do in tech. They go, oh, well, you'll be able to do it at this speed, or this is the transfer rate, or this is the file rate, or you'll be able to hot swap the servers. If you can say, you know what, we can make sure that your data is never lost for $1 a day, better than anybody else in the world.
Exactly.
Cool.
Something
that
to
makes
ask
sense.
questions.
That's a result.
Yeah.
We can make sure your salespeople are 85% more efficient and making you more sales. Oh, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Then it's a conversation. Oh, well, buy all of this cool tech stuff, but that's not important right now. What is important is understanding your goals. This is for you, Dario. What I understand is your goals, understand where you want to be, where you are now, what you think the things are in between, and we'll work to that. Because you know what? We've got a whole bookshelf of stuff we could talk about, but really what I want to talk about is you and your goals, your business, and how we can actually unpack the specific parts and make sure you're successful. Is that of interest to you? Yes, it is. Great.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we're getting close to the end of our hour. So I think, Matthew, what you might want to do is you should share a little bit about your company and the things that you have on offer, because I know you have a free trial and some cool stuff that the people here might be interested in seeing. So why don't you just share a little bit more about Velocity and what you do? And, if some people are interested in taking your free trial, you should absolutely lay it on them.
Okay, cool. So Velocity Selling was built by a guy named Bob Urachuk, was voted in the top 10 sales gurus since 2008. And so I've become CEO of that business because what I want to do is take value-based sales training to the world. So we're just about to launch in the US with an event in Irvine, California in the end of March, or the end of this month, goodness. And I'm also working with private clients locally and some globally to actually help them double their sales and halve their sales cycle. So if that sounds of interest to you, jump on velocityselling.com, grab the 7-day free trial. You'll see lots of stuff from Bob. You'll get an email from me within 24 hours. And you know what? The cool thing is you can ask me questions and I answer them. You can pretty much get free consulting from me because I've committed to that. I will answer your business and sales questions on email. Jump online, it's velocityselling.com. Jump on, grab the free trial, watch some of those videos and understand that sales is actually not just having another cool technique. And I know that these blabs are about giving you that technique, but also there's a lot that goes in behind that. There's a lot of effort and time that goes into those sort of things. But at the end of the day, we just want to make more sales as salespeople, and know that people here just want to make more sales, and that's what I can help them do. So that's my little pitch. What do? I help people double their sales, halve their sales cycle. If that's of interest, go to velocityselling.com. Dennis, what do you do?
Well, we do Small Business Dream. So we're just all about helping small businesses increase their sales. And we're not really focused on the online world. We're focused on grassroots deals. Now, we do have a really cool Twitter tool that helps the online guys, but it also helps the offline guys. So we're much more focused on, the little North American or Australian company who's out there selling pies or whatever it may be, and helping them increase their sales and turn their inventory faster so not so much goes in the garbage, and just in generally help the little guy with some simple techniques that anyone can implement. It'll actually save them time more than it costs them time, and get their sales and revenues up to where they can have a life instead of just a job within their company or within their business.
Cool, man. Did everybody get that? That's results. No spoilage, more lifestyle, this, that, and the other. Not selling more pies. Like
there you go.
That's the pitch. Anyway, so so Tim was just saying that I'm coming to the US. So I'm based in Australia. We've got some partners. We're partnering with a couple of people, one of them being Kevin Harrington from the Shark Tank, and a couple of others. And we're actually going to launch Velocity Selling as a business opportunity in Irvine, California. I keep saying Irvine because, Irvine, California, because that's how I've heard it, in March. So we're doing a free summit in March for sales. Kevin's going to co-host that with us, and me and Bob. And then we're going to go big. And so the answer to your question is we're based in Georgia because that's where our online training was built. But then we're actually going to go out there and go big throughout the US over the next 12 to 18 months. And you'll see plenty of Velocity Selling stuff.
All right, so we're at the end of our hour. More than happy to answer more questions, through Twitter or other mediums. But this is something that we are doing weekly, and we're going to sort of pick a topic every week. We're also more than happy to have guest speakers. So if someone has, interesting things to say about the topics we're involved in and experience, we're just here to try and help some small businesses and even medium and large businesses through the stuff Matthew does. And, just really help people enhance their sales commissions and enhance the profitability of their small businesses.
I want you to make more money. I want you to send me a message saying, Matt, Dennis, I made an extra $1,000 this month. Like that's what we're here to do. We want you to make more money. Now, if there are any questions, I can see the questions are rolling here on the side. Just send me a tweet.
Yeah, or me. I'm more than happy to connect on Skype or help out. But we will keep this to...
Send me a tweet, send me a Facebook thing, or send both of us, and we'll jump in.
Yep. So I think, Matthew, thanks for your time today. I think that was fantastic. We're learning our way through this blabosphere and making some progress. So we'll be back same time next week with another topic. You can follow us on Twitter and you'll get everything happening. And so I'm going to turn off the recording now. And thanks, everybody, for watching and listening.
Thanks very much. Have a great sales week. Bye for
All
now.
right. Bye for now.